Hey, this is Troy from Planet 76. We've got some really good Sixers-focused content coming your way today. Make sure you subscribe to the pod so you can be in the know when we release new content. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone. Planet 76, episode, 113? I have to do a better job of remembering what episode numbers this is, but episode 113. My name is Michael Troy here as well as usual. Sixers season is in full swing for the most part, and we got some very good things to talk about with the Sixers. It's been good, as we've talked about the past couple episodes. We've done some short episodes, we've done a couple long ones too, but we have Sixers on top. They're 5-1. One of the best records in the league to start the season. The season is about 2 weeks old now, so some depth there, but we still got a lot to go. They just got done just mopping the floor with Washington. So Troy, take us away. What are we getting into tonight?
Yeah, so it wasn't much defense tonight in the Sixers' 146-128 victory over the Wizards. So we're certainly going to break that one down. Sixers did play the Suns on Saturday without Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. Were able to take care of business with a 112-100 victory there. We'll just break that action down a little bit, look ahead to what's coming on the schedule, and something kind of exciting, I guess. Maybe you're excited about this as an NBA fan, maybe you're not. But the in-season tournament is underway, and the Sixers debut in their first game in the in-season tournament on Friday against the Detroit Pistons. And before that game, maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night, we're going to release a new episode, kind of just breaking things down with the in-season tournament, giving you what you need to know there, and then the specifics of what applies to the Sixers, the group that they're in. So our next episode is going to feature a lot of in-season tournament talk, so kind of exciting. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully the Sixers fare well. I think if the Sixers fare well, then we're going to like it. If they don't, we'll think it's stupid. So that's kind of what it's going to be.
The in-season tournament it's been a few months since the in-season tournament was announced, and I still have no idea what's going on. So when it comes to the Sixers, I'm lost. I'm hoping maybe you can teach me something with the in-season tournament for this team, because I don't know what's going on. There you go.
Well, I know action tipped off on Friday with some of the groups getting started. Right. So, the courts are people either think they're beautiful or they're hideous.
I will say the Sixers in-season tournament court, from what I've seen, is really, really nice.
Okay, yeah. Some are worse than others.
It's got like the retro 76 kind of thing going on. Basically, I'm pretty sure it almost matches their city jerseys this year.
Right. Right. So
I'm pretty sure it almost matches their city jerseys this year. So
yeah, we'll start with Washington. So tonight, Monday the 6th, again, Sixers 146-128. But we have to start with Joel Embiid. 48 points, Good. 11 boards, 6 assists, 17 of 25 from the floor, 14 of 14 from the line. Did not play in the fourth quarter. And he just played 31 minutes, but he had 29 points in the third quarter. 29 points, perfect from the field, perfect from the free throw line. Most points in a quarter in 76ers history. Michael, take it away, man. Like, what about Joel Embiid tonight?
It's funny too, because we made a Joel Embiid episode 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. There aren't enough words to describe. There are not enough words to describe how amazing Joel Embiid is. It's almost like you run out of words to describe him, and it's like he continues to one up himself. He quite literally is playing against himself at this point. He's at a level in his game now where he's constantly trying to beat his old self based on his scoring and just his overall dominance. Like, this is something that I've never seen it. I've been watching basketball now pretty religiously for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
Outside of maybe Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Jokic, Like, I haven't seen this. I just haven't seen this level of taking over games, effortlessly dominating teams, and just destroying everyone. I haven't seen that. I really haven't.
29 points in a quarter. 29.
Unreal. And it was a league record, or what was it? Something like league best. Like, no one's ever done that or something.
Well, I think Clay did it. However many he went for that one time, but Sixers record. I don't know a big man that's done it. It's insane, and he might have been the only one that's done it. Scored that many and been perfect from the floor. Just on fire, and 48 on the night. He's been passing pretty well as well. Another guy that's been passing is Tyrese Maxey, flourishing in his new role. Without James Harden, officially on the team. Tyrese Maxey with 22 tonight. He had 11 assists, 0 turnovers. You will take that every single night this season if you're going to get that from him. That is back-to-back games for Tyrese Maxey where he has gone for 10-plus assists. Interesting stat I saw tonight as well. In the Sixers' 6 games, Tyrese Maxey has totaled 44 assists and just 7 turnovers on the season. 44 assists, 7 turnovers. You like that from Tyrese Maxey, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just there's been a lot of discussion of like, putting the ball in Tyrese Maxey's hands. Yes, that is a good thing. Putting the ball in Tyrese Maxey's hands is a good thing. We want that for his scoring. But now he's showing that he can do things other than scoring with the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown that he can create for his teammates. He's shown he can pass very well. He's shown that he's been able to leverage his scoring into opportunities for his teammates. He pressures the defense because he's so good at getting downhill, getting to the rim, getting to spots in the mid-range that it opens up the floor for his teammates. And he's now able to consistently realize that and recognize that and take advantage of that and find his teammates. He just had 10 assists the other night, like you mentioned. That's something that I don't, maybe not never thought I'd see from Maxey, but still something that it's welcomed in a sense. Like, I can't quite find the word to describe that, but like, it's something that you obviously will take any day, but it's something that you wouldn't expect to see from him.
Mm-hmm. You kind of read my mind a little bit there, because I was thinking, as you were talking, that you love to see it. I mean, back-to-back games with 10-plus assists, but I don't know that we expected to see it so quickly. You hope that this is going to be, he's just going to be off and running the rest of the season, having nights like this, not every night, but occasionally. But to come into the season and just be up in the air about what kind of role he's going to play, how much he's going to have the ball in his hands, and to have back-to-back performances like this, and to have 44 assists and 7 turnovers on the season this early in a 6-game stretch, you couldn't ask for much better from Tyrese. So
Unreal.
And he's scoring the ball effectively as well. We did get our first sight at Nicholas Batum in a Sixers uniform tonight. In 17 minutes, he did not disappoint. He was a team-high plus 30 in those 17 minutes, and he knocked down 3 of his 4 3-point attempts. Nicholas Batum, of these 4 guys that they brought in, we'll take that if he's going to be a role player on this team, right? What are your thoughts on Batum, and who of these new guys do you like the most? Or, if you had to choose one, like, what's your thought process so far on the very small sample size from these guys?
We talked about it before on the last episode. This is a deep team. This is a team that has a legitimate 10, 11-man rotation. And when I say legitimate, I mean guys who can give you 10, 12, 13 minutes a night and be productive in those minutes, whether it's defense, whether it's shooting, whether it's cutting, being active off the ball, whether it's scoring, whatever. There are many things that these guys can do that help your team. you have to really, like, last year the Sixers' 7th man, 8th man was Korkmaz. Or 9th man, whatever. Now it's Marcus Morris. It's night and day. The difference between this year's depth and last year's depth is night and day. These guys, even though they're kind of getting older, they're old for sure for an NBA player. So I think Batum's like 36, Marcus Morris is like 34. Right. But they're veterans. Covington's like 33 or 34 as well. But they're veterans. These guys have many, many tools that they can use to help your team win. And that's what happened tonight. That's what's going to continue to happen for the Sixers this year. Even Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley was amazing tonight. And that's something I never thought I'd say. He was great. He's also like 33. Now, he's great. These guys, they play. They're physical on both ends of the floor. They, ironically enough, all 4 of those guys I mentioned are also great rebounders. Even Beverly for his size. This is like having guys on your bench that can do so many things is not only a luxury, but it's also kind of rare because a lot of teams don't have this level of players who can do all these types of things. Like, most teams have 1 or 2 guys off the bench that can do these things. The Sixers have 4. Morris, Covington, Batum, Beverly to a degree. I'm still interested to see KJ Martin. Like, this is a deep team. It really is.
It is. It's refreshing. It really is.
That's a guess.
You want to talk about someone, to your point, who did a lot tonight. And I get it's the Wizards, but I don't care. I don't care who it is. It's an NBA team. Patrick Beverly.
It still counts.
Patrick Beverly, a plus 27 in 12 minutes. Listen to this stat line in 12 minutes. 1/4 amount of time. 6 points, 5 assists, 4 boards, 1 steal, 1 block.
He had, I don't know what quarter, you said what quarter was that?
Must have been most of the third. He played a total of 12 minutes.
Yeah. He had this one bucket in I believe it was the third quarter. I think he ripped Johnny Davis. Took it full court, scored on 2 guys, just like super like crafty finish at the rim. I was like, wow, that's something the Sixers haven't had off the bench. Like, outside of Melton last year, that's a guy that can just do that. That really is a luxury.
It is a luxury, and he's someone we talked about, extensively in previous episodes, to the point where it was like, Patrick Beverly is also, this was his best game so far, and I think you can attribute that to him kind of still learning this role that he's playing with the team. Because the majority of his career, even though it sounds weird to say when you think of a glue guy like a Patrick Beverly, he was a starter. Yeah. He's used to playing more than 12 minutes a night. Let's just keep it real. And now he's in a new role as an older veteran on this team. Maybe he can just come out in short spurts, 2-3 minutes at a time for a total of 12 minutes a game, where he puts up some really good, numbers like this in the short sample size, but also some hustle plays that you need off the bench. So I think he's adjusting to his new role, and it might take some time. So good to see DeAnthony Melton knock down some shots tonight. 4 of 5 from 3. Kind of needed that from him just to, big. A little bit of a slow start for him, but we know what he brings on the other end of the floor. Sixers, again, as we mentioned, did take care of business against the Phoenix Suns 112-100 the other night, afternoon, Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock tip. Kelly Oubre was spectacular in that one, 25 points, 10 of 18, 3 of 7 from 3. Tyrese Maxey, a team-high plus 25, 22 points, and the 10 assists we already mentioned. And then Tobias Harris with a double-double, 18 and 10. And after that game, the 5th game of the season, I saw a stat that was pretty remarkable. Sixers were the first team in NBA history to have 4 players average 20-plus over a team's first 5 games of the season. Those 4 players, of course, being Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris. Wow. I know you got something to say about Kelly Oubre so far this season.
It's funny because Kelly Oubre has been a big topic for us on the show so far, and for good reason, obviously. It's like he brings a lot to the team, and now that he's starting, you can see a lot of what he brings. Athleticism, he plays hard on both ends of the floor. He's not always going to be this good on both ends of the floor. We've seen him be really good defensively, really good offensively, physical. He's not always going to be like this. He's going to cool off a little bit. But he's been spectacular. Exactly what you need from that fifth starter. He kind of brings a balance too, because even though he helps with floor spacing, because not only can he shoot very well from three especially, but he cuts. You know, he commands some defensive attention, so teams are focused on him. He's a threat out there, and that helps your offense. But his defense, he's a physical defender. He can play on the perimeter. He can help you down low in the paint at the rim. He can get up and contest shots. Athleticism on both ends of the floor. It's something that, I mean, last year the starting five didn't have that. I love PJ Tucker, but he's not exactly that. He wasn't exactly that last year. Year before they didn't have that either. Who was their starting? Harden. Like I don't even remember. That's how much it doesn't. That's how irrelevant the athleticism in that fifth starter spot was 2 years ago.
Correct.
But
every year,
it's I mean, basically, it's great. It really is great.
Right. I mean, you think back. That's an interesting point. And then now it got my mind racing a little bit. You think back to like, you know, even when JJ Redick was here. You know, you might have had four starters that were terrific. You know, in terms of athletic ability, but JJ Redick was a liability out there. I mean, I don't even know if he can touch the rim. You know, like, you know, you think about from an athletic standpoint what Kelly Oubre brings. Then you bring in Seth Curry. Seth Curry, same thing. We know what he does offensively, but he's a liability defensively. This is, and you're plugging in DeAnthony Melton now. This is an extremely capable starting five.
Just night and day difference.
Yeah, and it's showing. It's showing. Let's just put it that way. Even when you just compare it with last year, what Kelly Oubre brings. I mean, you think about, you know, a guy like George Niang, who, as awesome as he was for this team and the role that he played, Kelly Oubre in a different role just takes it to another level. Oubre made himself such a liability in playoffs that he was unplayable at times. And Kelly Oubre, you're not going to have that problem. I knew to an extent what he brought, but he just brings it even from an energy standpoint, an effort standpoint. He got up for a nice block tonight. You're just not going to see that from Sixers teams of the past, and it is, again, a breath of fresh air. We do have some breaking news to report on Planet 76 tonight. The Boston Celtics did fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight in overtime. Good. So there are two teams atop the Eastern Conference sitting at 5-1, and that transitions perfectly into our next segment, talking about the Boston Celtics coming to town on Wednesday night. The two top teams in the Eastern Conference. And then, again, the Sixers tip off the NBA in-season tournament on Friday against the Pistons. Are you looking forward to Wednesday night with a playoff rematch with the Boston Celtics in Philly?
I am. I think it's going to be a fun game. Well, I don't think it's going to be a fun game. I know it's going to be a fun game. You're basically going... You basically have the battle of star power versus depth. Because while the Celtics do have depth, they lost a lot of it. They lost
They
Grant
sure
Williams,
did.
Rob Williams. They lost Malcolm Brogdon. These are huge pieces of their team, and these were huge pieces of their team last year in their Eastern Conference Finals run. Plenty of those guys had massive games against the Sixers, regular season and playoffs. But they still have Derek White, very great player. Al Horford, fossil, but he's still good. And the Sixers, obviously, with the depth like we talked about, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And it's in Philly, so home court advantage.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, you think depth last season, you think Boston Celtics, and hopefully when this season continues to progress, the NBA puts we're putting the league on notice to notice our depth that the Sixers have. So bit of a it's a rematch from last season, but it's a different game. Some of the core obviously from Boston is there, and the stars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but now they have Porzingis and Drew Holiday in the starting lineup. The fossil himself is still there, but you take a look even at their box score tonight, the depth just is not there like it was last season. So they're adjusting. They're obviously extremely talented, very, very, very good. But it would be really nice to see the Sixers win on Wednesday night and their depth playing a pivotal role in that. Kind of to give the Boston Celtics a taste of their own medicine a little bit from what they've done in seasons past. So that should be fun. The Wells Fargo Center, I think, will be electric, Wednesday night. And, so we'll see how that goes. Again, at Detroit on Friday. Sixers, just a little sneak peek preview into the in-season tournament. And the Sixers, they are members of East Group A. The Sixers, Cavaliers, Hawks, and Pacers, and Pistons. And so they open with the Pistons. Each of those teams plays each other once. The tops in each groups move on to the quarterfinals with a couple additional wild card teams. But again, it all tips off on Friday. I'm a fan of it, I think. I think it'll be fun, especially if the Sixers do well. The more and more they win in this in-season tournament, the more and more I think we'll all be engaged and, continue to root them on. The games matter. They're still part of the regular season. So, we'll talk about that as we inch closer in our next episode to the in-season tournament tip-off for the Sixers. All of these games in the, group phase are on Tuesdays and Fridays. Just a little heads up there. So Friday, and then they have another game. I don't even know who they play. Next Tuesday will be game 2 of the in-season tournament for the Sixers. But yeah, one other note I think from myself, and then we'll wrap up with whatever you want to add. But I'm looking forward to these Sixers guys, these new acquisitions playing a role. We saw it from Batum tonight. Probably the most notable performance from from one of these guys in Covington, Martin, and Morris. But I still think people are sleeping on Marcus Morris. You just talked about him for a minute. He's a very good shooter. He's been a starter for a long time on a lot of teams. So I think he's got potential to make some noise for Philly. He's a good veteran. I want to see something from him soon. I want to see something from Rocco as well. Robert Covington, he knows what it's like to play in Philly, and I think he's going to have some moments coming up here in the near future as he just gets acclimated back to being a Sixer and with this new team. So anything else from yourself there?
No. I do like the Marcus Morris highlight. I think he is 34 years old. But he's a career 38% three-point shooter. Mm-hmm. Last year he was 36% on 5 attempts per game. Played 65 games. Again, this was the first time he played this year for any capacity. He didn't play with the Clippers this year at all. This was his first game playing in the NBA this year. So last year we can use as a reference. he played 65 games. He started in some. He came off the bench in others. 11 points per game, 4 rebounds. Again, 36% from 3 on 5 attempts. I imagine that could look very similar. He's not going to get 28 minutes, I don't think.
Right.
Here, he could maybe get half of that, I would say. So expect maybe half the points, maybe slightly lower three-point percentage, but 36% from 3 on even 3 or 4 attempts is great. So if that's what we can get from Marcus Morris, I love that.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy who's averaged double-digit points in the NBA for 7, 8, 9 seasons in a row. So that's significant, and kind of similar to what we said with Patrick Beverley. He might not be getting the minutes that he's accustomed to in recent memory, but again, I think that bodes well for the point that we're making of the Sixers having tremendous depth, because now they're having guys that can still really play at a high level, just play a little bit of a reduced role on a contending team, and that's really nice if you're the Sixers. So you gotta like what you see. You gotta like what you see from Nick Nurse to start this season, 5-1. And certainly a battle coming up on Wednesday night at the Wells Fargo Center. Sixers Celtics officially for the number one spot in the Eastern Conference. Take that however you will in early November, but we love to see it either way. So we'll have some fun Wednesday night, and we'll be sure to break down the in-season tournament with a preview coming up in a couple days, so be on the lookout for that. Well, we'll see you next time on Planet 76. If you are a Philadelphia 76ers fan, this is the podcast for you. Planet 76, a weekly podcast covering all things Philadelphia 76ers. We'll see you next time.